And that leaves PowerShell. Now, PowerShell is a shell framework that Microsoft developed for administrative tasks and to automate repetitive manual tasks. It is far more advanced than the traditional command prompt that most of us would have seen in Windows. The benefits of the PowerShell over the command prompt is that the PowerShell uses commandlets, where the command prompt simply uses commands. So what are commandlets? Commandlets can perform complex tasks like registry management and Windows management instrumentation. This makes them far more useful than the traditional command prompt. Essentially, commandlets are lightweight commands used in the PowerShell environment. Most of the commandlets in PowerShell use the verb-noun format. For example, get-command or update-help or start-service and so forth. PowerShell is object-oriented. This means that the data output from commandlets are objects and not just text. This gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to managing complex data. PowerShell is developed using the .NET framework. This allows PowerShell scripts to use .NET interfaces and extend features that are not provided by the default commandlets. The other way around is also possible, embedding the PowerShell scripts inside .NET code, for example. Here are some very basic commandlets you can try in your virtual machine environments. Get-help. This is essential. This is the help command that will give you all the information you need. Then the get-command is the easy-to-use interface command that brings up all the commands available for use in your current session. Get-service. It is helpful to know which services are running, and this will display all the services that are running in the command line when you run get-service. You can actually use PowerShell to parse your machine's event logs using the get-event log commandlet. And get-process basically gives you a list of available processes running. This is very useful to see if something's maybe slowing down your system. If you want to clear entries from your command history, you simply type in clear-history commandlet, and it will clear your command history. And if you want to delete the contents of an item, but retain the item itself, you can use something like the clear-content commandlet. Like Bash, this is a very wide field to study, and you will learn more through exercises and using it. So good advice is to use the resources in the course, like the LinkedIn Learning and other links that we share with you, to get a good handle on this and to practice using various PowerShell commandlets in the virtual machines. You will also learn more about PowerShell in the Microsoft course. Click your Start button and you launch PowerShell. I recommend launching it as administrator so it doesn't trip you up on rights. Right, so the very first thing you have to do when you run PowerShell is run get-help. If you have never run this before, it will then ask you if it should update, and you should tell it, yes, please do update. So you can have all the latest information that you need. And get-help is one of those things that will really be your Bible in this. You will go back to it over and over again because it has all the information that you need how to use PowerShell. You can also follow the link here that it lists if you really want to use the web browser, but make sure that you memorize get-help. It is really important. Now, the next thing we need to maybe check is to see what kind of execution policies do I have here? I mean, what can I run in PowerShell with my rights? So to do that, it's simply get execution policy. There we go. And it's currently set to restricted. I don't want that. So let's unrestrict it. So how do I do that? Very easy. You say set execution policy. And it's going to ask what level. So you have to know the level is unrestricted. Do I want to save it? Yes, I do. So let's see. There we go. It worked. My execution policy is now unrestricted. Right, so maybe you're new to a system and you want to know what services are running on this server. So to get that, you say get service. Should be called the current protocol, but let's go. And there it's going to list every service that is currently running, stopped or started, available on this Windows 10 desktop. Right, but this is, obviously not easy to go through. What if I wanted to save this somewhere? So you can either save it as an HTML file or as a CSV file. I'm going to show you how to do both. So let's do CSV first because that's much smaller. So get service, right? We know that. Then I'm going to say I want this to go to export CSV, and I need to give it a location. So C service.csv. Right, so let's see if it did that. So if I open up my Explorer, there's my CSV file called service.csv. I'm going to double click it. Oh, I made a mistake now. I should have said open with. I forgot this is a VM. Let's use Notepad. Obviously, CSV files is best used in stuff like pages or numbers or Excel, which you can then sort by comma delimited. So this is there, but it's a bit messy, and I don't want to install Excel. So let's find another way of viewing this easily. So same thing. So let's say get service, but let's export it to HTML because that's much easier. See, this thing is being confused now. I apologize for that. It's going to do what I just did. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Right, so we said we want to pipe this into an HTML file. So get service and convert to, and this time we want to say HTML. And we are going to also pipe that to C services.htm. Right, so did that actually work, or did I make a typo? Let's have a look. I made a typo. So let's try that again. So get service, right, we've got that. Oh, I see what I did. I didn't specify the properties. Okay, let's try that again. So get service, convert to -HTML, right? And property, name, and status, because I want to see all of that. And I'm going to pipe that to C services.html. I obviously made a typo here somewhere. No, I think it's the property. Let's see, it's not happy. I'm still making a typo somewhere. Okay, let's start it from the beginning. So get service, yes, that's fine. Convert 2. Yes, that's correct. And I'm going to say property name. And I want to have the status. So I can see if the service is up or down because we're looking at services here. And C colon backspace server HTM. Maybe that was the issue. Ah, there we go. You see typos. Spelling is important. Right, so there's my services HTML file now. I can open it up. The nice thing about PowerShell is it's got, if you tab, it will complete things. So get, tab, it will give me everything. It starts with get. So it helps with that spelling issues that I'm having. Okay, while we're waiting for that to launch, what's on the system? Edge. Let's see, let's do something else. So right, let's say I wanted to see what applications is running on the system in an event log. How would I do that? Well, I'm going to try and run. The best way to do that is get event log, and I'm going to say it's a log file, and for all applications. Oh, they opened up. So that's my HTML table, right? So yeah, this is a much easier way than a CSV file if you don't have Excel or something installed to see everything that's been running and stopping and starting on the system. This is very important if you're the system administrator and you will, get to use this a bit more in MST. I'm going to close this now down because it's murdering my machine having a browser open in this VM for some reason. So I'm going to close that as well. Right, so let's get back to this. I wanted a log file on applications. So let's say app application. There we go. So it auto-completed for me and enter. And that will generate a log file on the event log for every application on this system. You can obviously then pipe it to a CSV or to an HTML file or to a text file or whatever you like. Right, the next one to check that's important. Because sometimes you're like, oh, what's slowing my machine down? What's running? And maybe you only have, you don't have a GUI available. If you don't want to go through the effort of opening a GUI, I'm just going to kill this and restart it. Is just to use the get process command. So get process will show you what processes are running for your session. To do that, it's terribly complicated. You have to type get. Yeah, come on, machine. Get. Let's go and type it twice, isn't it? Yes. Right, there we go. Get process. And that's every process that's now running on this workstation. And if I wanted to, I could now say stop a process. So if there's something hanging or something that I don't want to run, or maybe there's a malicious file that I know is running a specific process, then you can actually say stop process. And you can then use the process name or the process ID, and it will stop that process for you. So let's open up. I almost used the hotkey here that I would use on Mac. Let's go back to my file explorer. So let's open up one of those text files again in Notepad. Right, so there it's open. Now let's say this thing's hanging. I can't terminate it for whatever reason. It might actually be a real thing on this PC. Right, so I want to stop Notepad from running. I want to kill it. I can obviously close it, but let's say for some reason I don't have a mouse or this is a terminal only server, I can type in stop process and the name of the process. You can look it up here where you ran it. This one I know it's called Notepad, so let's just get it Notepad. And then it closed it. So this is it's like getting to your task manager, but text-based and really fast without the GUI overhead. So if you have a server that doesn't have a graphical user interface installed, or that is hanging or it's very slow, but for some reason you can execute PowerShell on it, then this is a great way to do that. So those are the most common ones that I think you need to know for OFS. You will learn a lot more of them in MST, and PowerShell is a weird one. Sometimes you can be an administrator for years and never use it, and then other times that's your job every single day and you will use it a lot. And like Terminal and Bash, it's one of those things where you have to give yourself a list of things to do and then try and do it in PowerShell. See what you can do, what cool things you can set up and do and play with. So that's not the get time demand, I got that wrong. Anyway, I wonder if it remembered something that I did a while ago before we say goodbye. Oh, it's just so slow. No, it didn't. Previously, I had a session set up, so if I typed in $pig, it would give me a date and time command. But it was obviously not on the server. Right. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of PowerShell and how to use it, and you saw it in action here. So the most important one is get-help. That will get you everything you need to know and on how to do things. So let me show you just something in action quickly. So let's open up Notepad once more. I should stop cleaning that Explorer. And go there. Right, so that's Notepad, it's open. So maybe I want to know more about it. So let's say get help name, because I need to give it a name. And get process. So here, it tells me everything what I can do with the get process command. So it will even give you some examples. So let's use one of those get process examples. I don't know if that's going to work like this. It is. There we go. So that's examples on how you can use get process. So if you're stuck or if you're wondering how to do something, this is a great way to go and play around and see what is possible. And the help file is incredibly powerful and frequently updated. So it's a good idea to update it every now and again. I did it this morning, so it's probably not going to allow me to do it once more. Oh, it is. There is searching for updates. So if there's any updates available, you can just run get-help and then update, and it will give you the latest information that's available for the help file. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys for PowerShell. Like I said, as with Terminal and Bash, fire it up, start doing stuff in it. Give yourself a list of things to Google, what do administrators do with PowerShell? And then see if you can do it on your own system or on your VM system or your test system. just to get a hang and a feel for it. But the takeaway from this one is like these few that I showed you, they are fairly important and like most common. And the most important one is always get -help. I hope you find this useful and see you in the next video.